Welcome, street rats, to Night City. I'm the one and only Moxie 11, bringing you slightly biased news footage from the fourth wall. Checking in on Gojira after their harrowing fight with the albino, the gang is mostly recovering in the downtime. At the Twin Scalpels, I awaken with a breathing mask over my face and the information that my lungs are very badly damaged and I'll need a new set. It'll be expensive and cyber lungs are hard to find. In short, I'm looking at 10 grand and a facility that can do the job. Until then, breathing without the mask is going to hurt like hell. Pons also asks me if I want the cybernetic hand replaced now, informing me that my friends paid for my surgery. With the money on credit, I tell him to go ahead, and learn that it's slightly more than just a normal hand. There's a smuggling compartment in the thumb with a small baggie of blue glass, and the middle finger can have the tip removed for a hollow compartment about the size of a pen. I can also disable the joints to keep it stiff. Not a bad way to stab someone if I can get a thin knife in there. As I'm having my second surgery, we check in on Wraith over at Frank's. The bar seems slower than normal since the name has changed. The regulars still show up, but that's about it. Wraith asks to talk to Frank in a booth, and after switching on the white noise machine, tells him that he believes the reason the place isn't doing well is because of his bartender Hal. Wraith convinces Frank that Hal sexually harassed him. Frank tells him he'll take care of it, and in the end, fires Hal, which I hear about from Pons. As I recover, I check my agent to see if my contacts have sent me information. There was a story about the attack at the waterfront, but there are no leads. There's a name and a contact of who to send the information to at the police department. The construction taking place at Shady Acres has been set back a few days due to a delivery mix-up, and Secretary Tamara Wilson of Newsan has been fired. In Kabuki, Die Knife, a local gang, have been terrorizing local shops that didn't pay their protection. I make a few mental notes to follow up on these things when Gojira comes to visit me, giving me funds from our job. I explain my situation to the group, and both Cass and Wraith seem to think finding me new lungs and 10 grand won't be a problem. Cammy gives me a hug, and I'm genuinely happy to see she's unharmed. She also tells me she's looking into the information I asked her about and may have found something. Wraith hands me a plastic plant from the group to brighten up my room, which reminds me to ask them to check in on Vim. I also tell them about the construction mistake, and if they want to get Wraith's recording, now would be the time before the construction starts back up. Once they leave, Wraith goes to get his sneakers and asks Rex if he can sell them. Rex offers to try once Wraith says he can give 30% of the profit to Rex. He's then informed of a night market currently happening that might take the shoes, and there will be one in 3 weeks with cybernetics. The deal made, Wraith takes the costume he liberated from the construction company to Shady Acres to see if it will pass. He doesn't get too far before he's caught and told to leave. After that, he calls Dave Wacker, who tells him of an underground fight ring happening in 3 weeks, and they want live music. Specifically, they want Kabuki All-Stars to play, leaving Wraith to consider talking to Z. Meanwhile, Cass takes on a couple jobs. The first is a bouncer at Frank's, where he breaks the jaw of a Tiger Claw gang member and needs to lay low for a week. Finally, he takes on a job as a bodyguard for some high-end client to watch a door during a meeting, making a few eddies during the downtime. While the boys work on their own affairs, I'm busy recovering and learning how to move without collapsing from the pain in my lungs. During one of my recovery days, I'm visited by an incredibly attractive man in an expensive grey suit, piercing cybernetic blue eyes. When I ask him his name, he tells me he goes by The Eyes, and informs me that he's been a fan of my work since my days as a nomad, and has been following me very closely. He knows about what happened at Shady Acres, and what happened now. Claims he wants to help and pay for my lungs and surgery in exchange for installments in the form of small tasks with one big end-term goal that he claims he doesn't yet know what it will be. The only promise he can make right now is that he won't do anything to compromise my credibility. I don't have time to consider as he heads for the door, forcing my hand in a power move, which I must admit I'd respect. In the haste, I agree. After all, given my history, it's not likely I'm going to live to actually make good on that debt, plus it gives me time to research him. On our way out of the Twin Scalpels, I'm grabbed from behind, a needle put into my neck. I don't remember much other than being loaded into an AV, and when I wake up, I can breathe fine and I'm back in the Twin Scalpels. I ask Pons if there's any vid footage of my visitor. It's all gone. Whoever Mr. Sexy Blue Eyes is, he's powerful and rich. Dangerous combination in Night City, and for me, given my recent partnership. First things first, I need to replace my items, and I've got the cash to do it. I send Rex a list of items I need after scoping at the night market, where I buy a lockpicking set, 2 med bags, a tech tool, grappling gun, and some boots. While I'm off spending almost all my money, Wraith goes to visit Z. She's not doing great, and when Wraith enters her apartment, he can see she's high on blue glass. At her offer, he takes some, and the two have part of a talk that they need to have regarding the band, and feelings, and Rico. In the end, after she tries to move on through sex, and Wraith denies her, she kicks him out. The drugs are still in his system, and while he waits an hour before driving, ends up smashing on a new car on the side of a building, leaving it there, taking a bus back. A bus that he stays on till the end of the line because he's spaced out. Trying to play it cool, he gets off, ends up in an industrial dive bar, having a great time and potting at the drugs until morning. On his way back, he calls him, asking how he can just walk away from her. In a rather ironic turn, he tells her she needs to get her shit together. They talk about the future of Kabuki All-Stars. By the end of the conversation, she tells him if he can get a singer, they'll talk. Over at Cammy's, she and Cass have a small chat while sitting on her balcony one night. She tells him she can't stop thinking about what almost happened to him, and though Cass tells her he's been through everything imaginable, has always come back, she's not fully reassured. She tells him he wasn't expecting him to move in, and since he has, she wants to know what this is. Cass's response? He lives in the moment, and right now, she's right in front of him. They move into the bedroom after that, and I must admit, that wouldn't be a good enough answer for me. Good thing he's with Cammy. Before we step away from the scene, Cammy reaches out to me, telling me she's found information on Jenny Watts through a photo of a mutual friend of hers and Rico. In the photo, Cammy sees her next to Rico and assumes that's who she is. The mutual friend is Bobby Jenkins, not a name that means anything to me. Thankfully, Cammy has a few other details. Jenny had an apartment in Watson next to the marina and worked as a field tech at an electronic shop. At least it's a place to start. To watch the story unfold live, tune into Saves vs. Death every Saturday at 8:30 PM Eastern at twitch.tv/SavesVsDeath. If you can't watch live, be sure to subscribe to the Saves vs. Death channel on YouTube so you can watch it as soon as the recording is released. You can always download it as a podcast. Stay safe, cyberpunks. This has been your Night City recap with Moxie 11.